Welcome to Solo Sailing with Trev White, and today just going to talk about the sail from the Great Barrier Islands up to Whangarei in the North Island of New Zealand. So previously I was down in Great Barrier Island trying to work out whether to go into Auckland or to go to Whangarei, and the reason was I need to get a sail repaired. I need to meet some crew who are planning to join me, and just check general repairs and also provision the boat. So after ringing around for the rest of the day, I've come to the conclusion that the only place to go was Whangarei. Having never been to Whangarei, I imagine it was just like a little creek. To my surprise, it's anything but. It is a major port. They export a number of things from the actual port entrance, and then they have quite a large river which goes inland to quite a large marine district, which has everything up to super yachts and quite large vessels to just standard yacht marinas. And the place where I am right now is a place called the Town Basin up in the middle of Whangarei Township. Whangarei is about, I suppose, hour and a half north of Auckland, but the benefit for me is it's quite small compared to Auckland, and I have a sailmaker here, UK Sails, which can repair my mainsail. So I tore the mainsail sailing from Picton in a gale, so I'm going to get that repaired for the trip north. And yeah, I'll get the jib sewn over and some other small repairs done. There's a number of places where I can buy engine parts, oil, even, generally they're all spare parts. Spares of spares. I already have spares on board, but when I go on a big trip, I carry more spares so that I don't break into my essential spares kits. But I'm also putting an extra, I suppose, 10 litres of oil. And for a lot of these big boats, 10 litres wouldn't even touch the sides. But I have a 50 horsepower engine, it's quite old, and it takes 5 litres of oil. So I have 2 oil changes with that 10 litre drum. Plus I also carry a spare 5 litres in my storage compartment, which I don't touch. So yeah, that's the plan. And then tomorrow, the next day, I'm meeting with Justine and Pierre, a French couple, who wish to join me on the trip north, which will probably be to Tonga, I think. And I think at this stage, a British girl who is living in New Zealand. She's going to come up with a girlfriend and check out the boat, have a meeting, make sure we're all compatible. Works both ways. I need to be compatible with any crew I take on board because we're stuck together for a couple of weeks, and I don't particularly want to be stuck on a boat with someone who drives me insane. So that is the short-term plan, but the place I'm at is, it's quite interesting. It is very much like a little town. But yeah, the sail I left, decided to leave Great Barrier Island early in the evening. I left at about 8 o'clock, so dropped the mooring, sailed out of the bay, rounding a little island there, headed out to sea, and it's 50 miles across, 50 nautical miles across to the entrance to Port Whangarei, and I think it's all up about 67 nautical miles up to the Town Basin. So I sailed southeast past Little Barrier Island, which is not so little, and then past Lamb Rock. So just stayed on the southeast sides of those, just to make navigation easy for myself at night. And as it happened, it was black as a cave out there. Couldn't see anything apart from lights. There was very little moon. Well, in fact, there was no moon. And when I left, it was quite lovely conditions. It was sort of an onshore breeze, westerly, and I had a really nice sail. I was just cruising up the island, and probably early hours of the morning it started to pick up to the northwest, so that made sailing a bit more challenging, but I just pointed up higher into the bay to make the use of the as much wind as I could, so I was going in the direction. So yeah, the bay got quite shallow, but Once I'd got right up into the bay and got the protection from the sort of the port area, I then dropped sails and just motored across to the shipping lane. So I had to get there about 6:30, 7 o'clock for slack water. And I got there probably about 7 o'clock, I guess, which was perfect. It was just a breeze getting in. It was really well lit. It is a bit shallow at spots, but it's designed for large shipping. There's multiple shipping routes coming in. So yeah, just lined up the channel markers and went in. Yeah, it was a wet, cold, misty, Jurassic Park type of morning. It was it's quite a surreal looking place when you're sailing in there if you've never been before. But I sailed past Urquhart's Bay, which is off to starboard, and looks like a really good little anchorage. I would have, if I wasn't pushing to get to Town Basin, I would have probably stopped in there and anchored in there. And then a little bit further up on the left was Marston Cove off to the port. So I haven't looked in there, but I could see all the masts in the distance. It's sort of I suppose a bit of a trendy area. Lots of nice homes with a channel running into the marina. So I gather that it's quite a large marina and well kept. I think you'd have to stay into the channel though. It looks a bit shallow each side, so when I come and do customs, I'll make sure I do that in daylight. But yeah, the river is pretty much navigable. Well, it's navigable all the way to the Town Basin, but it's dredged, it's maintained, it's lit. It was deep all the way up to the airport, which is about the halfway mark up the river, and then you sort of go through a bit of an S-bend into the Whangarei industrial area. So it's interesting spot. I was really surprised. I thought Whangarei was a bit of a little tiny backwater, but it's definitely a major maritime maintenance, shipbuilding, not about shipbuilding, but ship repair facilities. There's loads of big haul outs that can handle small ships or super yachts, loads of catamarans up on the Hard, quite a few different marinas that I passed, some good, some not so good. I was curious about the river, how they had a recent cyclone there, but from what I could see, like it looks in pretty good condition all the way through. And obviously lots of choice if you're going to haul out. There's loads and loads of haul out facilities. So that's something for me to consider if I come back to New Zealand. I recently did a haul out in Port Whangarei in Victoria. So it's a tiny little place, but managed to get my yacht out on the top of the high. And yeah, we did clean the bum, new antifoul. So my antifoul is only about, what is it now? It's probably 6 months old. So it's still in pretty good condition. Although the water is bloody freezing here, so I have no intentions of jumping in and checking it, but I'm still maintaining pretty good boat speed. So that's the best way of me gathering whether it's clean. But, and the Town Basin looks disgusting, so I won't be jumping in there either. But the spot I am is I'm, going past the marinas and the industrial area was sort of a little bit more shallow. I think you couldn't really switch off. You had to keep an eye on what was going on, particularly the first time being there. And then there was a bridge, like a lifting road bridge. What do they call that? They called it it's some crazy little name. Timatu-Apoe Bridge. I know I haven't pronounced it correctly, but it's quite a picturesque looking bridge. I needed to get on the radio to the bridge operator. I gave him a bit of warning, and then again radioed him about 500 metres out. He raised the bridge, and went through it. It was pretty stressless, except that some guy behind me didn't have a radio, so he was trying to tag along with me, which made it very confusing for everybody. And then when I got up into the Town Basin, I tied up right out front of the Town Basin Marina. on their visitor berth, which was quite stress-free. And even though I was by myself, which is always difficult when you're by yourself trying to tie up, someone came down and grabbed some lines, which made it a bit more easy, because there was a super yacht in front of me. Not a super yacht, but probably a 70-foot expensive big white thing, which I didn't want to run into. But yeah, there was probably 100 feet of berth, so I just gently pulled up and got some lines aboard, and then we just manoeuvred the boat into a position which the marina was comfortable with. So yeah, now I'm tied up at Town Basin, which is a restaurant not more than 25 feet from where I'm sitting right now. Looks pretty good. There's some pubs nearby, but the best thing from my perspective is there's something called Pack and Save, which I think is a Kiwi wholesale consumables place, not more than 100 metres away, maybe 150. So that's where I'll be doing my shopping. I can probably walk a trolley across the road and load the boat up. So that is fantastic. And I think about a kilometre away there's a Repco and some places where I can purchase oil and consumables for the engine. Sailmaker is 400 metres away, so I will probably borrow one of their marina trolleys, load up my main and jib, and walk that down to the Sailmaker tomorrow. It's pretty easy for the crew to find, so in the next couple of days we'll get everybody on board and have a bit of a chinwag, cup of tea or coffee, and work out what people's intentions and desires are for sailing. And if it doesn't work out, then I will go north by myself. It's only about, Fiji I think is 8 days, Tonga might be 10 to 12 days. Again, I need to do a bit more detailed planning. And I need to try and pick a weather window. That's the challenge, apparently, is getting a decent weather window to do that trip. And the weather around here at the moment has been pretty garbage. I think there's a big blow coming, or there was a big blow coming into the South Island. Whether it affects the North Island, I don't really know. But I need to sit down and start looking at the weather more rigorously. So I don't really want to spend more than about a week in my current location, if not shorter if I can. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I think the first thing I'll do is finish this and then I'll probably go and find a pub, sit down, have a beer. I need to get a haircut. I'm sure that the town centre has both of those available to me. But yeah, I could quite comfortably sit in a pub and have a couple of beers, take my notebook, do a bit of planning. Plan in a far more civilised way than sitting on the boat. And I will work out which location to go to. I'm definitely leaning towards Tonga. I mean, it sounds exotic. I like the people. There's whales apparently in Tonga, more so than Fiji, but I imagine they both get whales. But Tonga seems to have or markets whales. So the girlfriend likes whales, so if she gets to Tonga, then we'll have the opportunity to maybe dive with some whales. We'll see. I think Nuku'alofa or something like that is how they pronounce the main destination in Tonga. And then there's a whole variety of islands. But it looks a bit challenging. There's lots of reef through there. Excuse me. And there's lots of little islands. There's some old volcanoes, new volcanoes. I think there's a new island actually as well. So that would be interesting to see. So I'm going to look at that and plan. I think Tonga's basically broken into three parts. There's a southern main island group, central island group, and then the northern island group. My plan, I think, would be to sail into this Nuku'alofa and provision there, clear customs, check it out, and then I would go probably a few days in the central district or central island area, check that out, and then get up into the north. I think there's a bigger airport in the north as well. but I have to do a bit more research, and then from there it looks like you can sail across to Fiji and go into a place called Sabu Sabu. So, and again, I haven't really worked out the whole Fiji thing. There's several island groups, trying to work out the weather, trying to work out the best sailing routes. Like Fiji is just a minefield of reefs. When you look at across from Tonga to Fiji, there's just reefs everywhere. I mean, I would have hated to be sailing here back in the day, 100 years ago when navigation was pretty garbage. Even today, with all the equipment we have, satellite navs, detailed charts, underwater sonar, better depth gauges, people still run aground. They run aground and they sink. People die. You get caught in a storm, and you might not be able to sail away from an island. You might, it might be to leeward, and that's the problem when you're sailing through these reefy areas. There's always an island to leeward. So you've got to look at the weather, and you've got to look at the route that you want to sail, and try and pick a route that is manageable if the weather turns to crap. So that is my plan. Beers and some loose planning, maybe conversation with crew, see when they will exactly turn up. Maybe do a swing by the supermarket before I go to the pub, or maybe on the way to the pub, and then I will check out what's available. Get some something for my COVID cough. I think it's probably remnants of bloody COVID or something, but it seems to be everybody's got one of these things these days. I'll do a walk around the supermarket, work out what everything costs over there, whether it's the best supermarket to go to. When you're doing big shops for 2 or 3 weeks, you want to get good bang for your buck. And New Zealand obviously has different produce to Australia, so I need to make sure I can get what I need, and buying in bulk relatively. Maybe while sitting at the pub, I'll make a bit of a grocery list as well. Although I tend to like to do that when I have crew. I don't know what they like eating. French, French are generally good cooks, so that's I had a French couple when I was in Tasmania, and they love cooking. Food was very tasty, very hearty. So don't know where these guys are from, but French always seem to be good cooks. And then UK girl, I'm not sure what she will like if she joins us. I like stir fries and spicy foods and hearty soups. Don't really eat bread, but I like cooking bread when I'm sailing. I don't eat it at all when I'm not sailing, so it doesn't make any sense, but I enjoy cooking it. So I'll probably do some bread mixes and do some loaves of bread for the crew. What else is there? Don't tend to take chicken. Chicken always goes off for some reason. I haven't been any success with chicken, but I've got a new freezer on board at the moment. It's been working really well, so I could probably take chicken for the first week, and we can do some chicken stir fries or some other chicken dishes. Beef tends to last a bit better for me, and then I also take things like spam and tinned meats. They're a bit more expensive in many cases. They're probably not great for you. They're full of salt and other preservatives, but everything's a sacrifice when you're sailing. You've got to take something in the way of protein if you can't catch fish, and not always successful catching fish, even though we throw lures out. I've sailed for thousands of miles and not even got a bite. But we will buy some more lures, probably got about 20 on board, so it should be enough. It'd be nice to catch a small tuna. I don't like catching big fish because I think it's wasteful. I tend to generally let them go if they're too big, and I like to just catch something that's a couple of days worth of meat and that seems to be the best way for my boat. But anyway, we are in the Town Basin. The people here are very nice, very accommodating, and I think it is the perfect spot. So if you are sailing into New Zealand, somewhere between Opua and Auckland, I recommend Whangarei for, there seems to be a lot of services here. A bit of a country vibe. I'm not really a city guy, so I like country casual. And yeah, it does have an airport, so there's airports, there's buses. You can get to Auckland pretty easily from here, but you don't have all the bullshit of a big town. I think that's enough for today. I will make my priorities of checking out the supermarket, heading to the pub for a beer, a bit of lunch, and then we will start making a grocery list and talking to crew. I hope you have a good day and safe sailing.